What's up, guys? All right, we are live. Let's get it going. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, rough morning. Chronic migraines, but it is what it is. So let's slide into it. We're going to get started here. I'd say we're probably like 4 minutes away from getting started. I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to actually get my camera going here. And then I'm just going to answer some questions that you guys have for me here before we get everything going here. All right. What's up? We got Pluto. Pluto tapped in today. Welcome to Earth Stream here. So what's up? I see we have Hungry Hobo. Sick. We got Ninja, Musa, Edgar. What's up, Michael? From Dominican Republic. You said you've been learning with me for 2 weeks and it feels like 2 years of knowledge. Amazing. I love to hear that. The GOAT. Thank you, guys. Man, that's a lot of love. What's up, Nadia, Eric, Dennis? So I'm going to go ahead and send some alerts out that we are live. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I know some of you are up super late. Question for you guys. Question for all of you. What records should I get next? What belongs on the wall? Right? What belongs on the wall here? What y'all think? What are some of your favorite albums? Obviously, it's nothing to do with trading, but what do you guys think here? I'm just curious. All right, so let's dive into it. Let me see here. All right, got that live here, and let me see if I can answer any questions here in the chat. Argentina in here, Venezuela, ¿qué tal? Honda by Kanye. Yo, that's funny. I don't know if you listen to Afro music. Put me on. What you got for me? What's up? We got DFW in the house. Send me some Afro music. Send me some, what you got? All right, here we go. All right, close this out. Kill the noise. Close that. Chile, what's up? Staten Island, New York. Fred again. I am missing I would honestly I'd get all of them. I do need to get one Fred again at least to start. I'm looking to go a little bit of everything first before I dive deep. Did I go live this morning? No, I wasn't live this morning. I sent an announcement out. I had a migraine this morning, so I was not trying to. Oh no! I totally just clicked it. I just inserted an ad. Oh, my bad. Didn't mean to do that on purpose, but I guess you guys get an ad right now. So I don't know if that happens for everyone, but you know what's interesting? I have YouTube Premium, so I don't even know. My thought process with ads is like, I think on everything, this is how they get my money, but like I don't want my focus to be killed. And then also, like, in terms of just programming, for me, the ads part is like, all right, whatever. Like, I get your game. That's fine. I guess these businesses, they got to make some money. So it is what it is. Let's see. Did this thing post or not? All right, there it is. All right, perfect. Good to go there. If you use Brave browser, you don't see ads even on free version. Really? I didn't know that. Okay, that's cool. Ecuador, what's up? Jimi Hendrix. Twice as Tall by Burna Boy. Okay, I'll check that out. I've heard a little bit of Burna Boy. Sub takeoff. I'll see you guys in Seattle here in a couple days. Let me get this. Hold on. Gotta get this a little higher. Oh, there we go. Skirt. Make some adjustments here. Buenos Aires, Yellow Tape by Key Glock. Man, I'm learning a lot about you guys, and you're just tasting music. It's interesting, different. I'm open to a lot, so I'm curious to know. I just want to hear your top albums. All right, fire. So let's dive in, guys. We have a lot to unpack today. How do you think the pink moon will affect the halving? I don't think it'll really. I don't think it's like everything's kind of all packaged in together. So I don't know enough about the pink moon. I mean, we've gone over lunar phases in the past, but I don't know enough about the pink moon to really give you a well deduced answer here. But maybe in the future. Do you use Wyckoff? I don't mark it up completely. Like, I won't go and break down like every single component of it. But yeah, definitely Wyckoff concepts are a backbone to the way I approach the market, you know, like understanding narratives and things like that. But anyways, guys, for those of you that are locked in with me here today and, you know, you were invited on, or however it is that you got here, we're going to be going over dollar pairs. We have a lot of news, a lot of news this week. We're going to be diving into what's going on with crypto, where are we at, what to expect. We're going to be diving into metals, indices, see if there's any plays ready, waiting for us. Is that keyboard for making music? Yeah, it's a MPK Mini. Okay. It's a MIDI, a little MIDI, tiny one. Rich homie Quan, all right. What's up? We got Moneto in the house, some Jay-Z. You know, we're just having a conversation about Jay-Z. And I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think that if Jay-Z were to come out now, would he be as relevant now than before? Eddie Zuko is pretty fire. All right, cool. So let's get into it, everybody. Another week of just a lot of good stuff going on. So let's dive right in. Perfect. So I won't dive into S&P 500 quite yet. Last week, again, we saw more all-time highs all across the board with indices, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Bitcoin today made again another day of all-time highs. Fun fact, I think Bitcoin's up a little over 1% on average. On average, Bitcoin goes up 1% every day this year. So it's been cooking. it's been cooking. But we'll dive into that here in a little bit. And the first thing I want to get started with is for you guys to just have a good idea of the timing of the market this week, and when is it a good idea to be paying attention to the market? What are times in which you might want to be managing your setups better and things like that. So I want to make sure you guys are getting a good understanding of that. And this way you're also trading smart, you're efficient, and you're not just absorbed into the market at all times. So today there's no news events. New York Open with indices were pretty boring, honestly. So nothing I'm really. It was almost like I was like I had a migraine on the right day, and that's fine. Now the rest of the week is going to be a little busier, and this is great news. So if you are a London session trader, then you have the first of two key moments. So for my London session traders, this is where you want to pay attention. At 2 a.m. Chicago time, which is 6 hours from right now, you're going to want to take a look at the market. So today and tomorrow. So in 6 hours, and then the next day, same thing. GVP news, we'll probably get some decent movement. I don't trade London session very often, so not really too relevant for me. But if we have London sessions on, traders on here, something to look at. However, the big thing is USD news all week. Tomorrow especially, we have CPI, and 10-year bond auction. So we'll have news in an hour before New York Open, and then you have news again around noon Central Standard Time. So, and then obviously New York Open. So there's kind of 3 key moments tomorrow where we're going to be looking at an hour before New York Open, which is at 9:30 a.m. New York time, 8:30 a.m. Chicago time, 6:30 a.m. LA time, and then Wednesday again, noon, more dollar news. Thursday, I think Thursday's event is going to be really, really volatile as well. So not only will CPI give us some nice volatility, I would expect that for tomorrow, but Thursday we have a combination of PPI and unemployment claims all in the same minute. So I do think it's going to be a fun week for the dollar. And then Friday we have 2 more massive news events. Now remember, Monday through Friday we have New York Open, in which indices specifically get pretty volatile. Sometimes you'll see crypto start to move as well, on top of, especially now with like ETFs being involved in the crypto space. But so this is for you to really think about it in terms of how you schedule your day, how much preparation you give yourself as a trader. So we want to have these things, and I'm live every single day at from 8 to 10 a.m. Central Time. So we get to cover a lot of these, whether it's New York Open, which we have every single day, or the aftermath or preparation for these news events. So good thing is, everything that I go today is going to be kind of an outline for what we can expect for the week, but we're going to tackle this on together every day. So it should be pretty solid. Have you considered switching to futures yet? Thoughts on how to transition from forex to future? Yeah. So this is a good point, and I guess I'll talk about this right now, especially if, let me know in the chat, guys, how many people from the U.S. are on right now. So where are my U.S., where are the Americans on the stream? So this is actually really important, I'd say, for anyone who's in the U.S. As you've seen, forex has been a little bit trickier to trade. Right now, you can still use regulated brokers like Owanda and forex.com. This is not a recommendation or an affiliation. I'm just stating the facts, those are regulated brokers in the U.S., which can be used by anybody. However, a lot of people like trading other things, and a lot of the trading space, especially for forex, is unregulated, and especially with the prop firm space. You guys saw, tons and tons and tons of prop firms disassociate from U.S. traders. So trading futures is, I think, a very smart idea to transition to, or to further develop if you haven't been already. It's not that different, honestly. It's a little bit different in terminology. Obviously, you have different platforms to get used to, but it's really, the price action is the same. Spreads are non-existent. So there's pros and there's cons. But I think in terms of just being on a regulatory standpoint and not having to worry about, prop firms just kind of disappearing and things like that, I definitely think it's wise to make, not really, I wouldn't say a switch, but to educate yourself in the future space, especially as a U.S. citizen, so that you're just aware, of what you also can be doing, and things won't just disappear on you. And there's kind of, it's more regulated, which in a way just kind of gives you more security with either your capital or your future. But either way, like, you can still fund yourself, in whether it's with foreign exchange brokers, whether it's futures and things like that. Like, you can always fund yourself. But the prop firm space for sure has gotten very different, and as you guys saw, like, a lot of brokers dropped, or Meta Quotes dropped a lot of brokers, and I'm sure a lot of you are adapting to like different platforms like DX Trade, or what are the other ones right now, Match Trader or Trade Locker. So all these different platforms that you may be adapting to, But at the end of the day, the reason that MetaQuotes dropped all these people is because like you know, like the U.S. doesn't want companies operating with unregulated entities in which money can be at risk. So that's kind of what was going on. So to answer your question, yes, I think that it's definitely smart to just be educated in different avenues of trading. It's not very different. Like there are changes, but it's not crazy. It's not like learning an entirely new skill. It's just kind of like doing something, almost like doing the same thing, but just in a different way. And that's really it. So something to just look at, guys. Definitely look into the future space. There's a lot of different things that you can do. Maybe I'll make a video on just like how to make that addition, because I think that's the way to look at it. Like this is an additional way of operating in the markets. And like for example, you can still trade Euro USD and GBP USD and AUD USD. You can still trade metals as well. They're just different tickers, and there's a little slightly different way to approach it. Terminology is a little bit different. It's not pips, it's ticks. It's not lots, it's contracts. But it's nothing too crazy. But cool. Hopefully that gives you guys just something to look at. Yeah, I still use MT5 for sure. I'm in Chicago right now. Hartford, what's up? Vegas, what's up? Yeah, I use MT5 for sure. There's a variety of things. Also, cool thing as well is that there are a couple companies right now focused on being able to basically like trade on one account. Maybe it'll be MetaTrader or a futures account, and then it'll cross-platform copy. So if you have an account with, like let's say you have an account with Meta on MetaTrader 5, but then that could send your trade to an account that you have on TradeLocker or an account that you have on DXTrade. I don't know between like margin trading, CFDs to futures. I don't know if that's a thing yet. I'm sure someone will make that happen. But so it's cool. Like the space is growing, the space is evolving, new resources to make, trading multiple accounts gets easier. So it's cool to look at. Like there are hurdles in the space, and I think a lot of it also is pointing to like, make sure you're compounding your own account as well. Because at the end of the day, I think having ownership over your account is everything. It's so valuable. Have your own money that you have control over, and you just learn how to, invest in yourself, compound it over time. Small gains add up. Like we can look at, I'll give you guys an example of something that's, I'd say like a lot of people will, this is a phrase that I throw around a lot. And I know I totally deviated from the market analysis right now, but I think it'll be useful just to give you perspective. By no means of what I'm going to show you right now is like what to expect as a trader. That's not what I'm going to show you right now. But I just want you to see the power of just doing things. So and just the little things just add up. I trade futures on Binance, mostly altcoins and Bitcoin. Can your way of analyzing, for example, forex? For sure. You don't like U.S. regulated brokers? Yeah, I use them. Mm-hmm. So what platform do you prefer after MT5? Trading Views platform is nice. But all right, so I want you to think about how you invest in yourself. Let's say your own account. Let's say you're just going to fund yourself. So, all right, let's say you're starting with $1,000. The goal always is to start now. And so if you're able to invest, I don't know, $100 into your own account, and then let's say you do this for the next 5 years, and then your growth. Okay, let's see what your growth looks like. Just if you're making, let's say, assuming that you already have some skills and you're doing 20% a year. All right, this is good. This is good growth. Here's where you're at, right? Over 5 years, you have $11,000. But again, you started at $1,000 and you're just putting in $100, just $100 a month. That's not a lot of money. honestly, if you can't do more than that, then you also have to focus on your income. People think that trading is the solution. Trading is a multiplier. It's not the, this is not what adds, this is what multiplies. But if you're now putting in $100 a week and you're making 20% a month or a year, starting at 1,000, all of a sudden you're progressing pretty well. And in 5 years, you have around 38K. Again, this is cool because you have, if you have questions, just drop them in the chat. This is cool because that's 38,000, that's yours. And again, this is a hypothetical situation, but that's your money. That's not, other people's money, that's your money. So that's also something that you can count on at any moment in time. And then you can also decide to risk this in whichever way that you want. So that's a way to look at it. Now, if you can invest more, obviously is better. And then if your growth rate is better than this, then it's going to get even better. I'm using 20% because I want to give you just a super conservative number. Well, what if you do this for 10 years? Now, again, you can approach the same concepts with the markets, like investing, whether it's crypto or stocks or whatever. But people just underestimate the power of starting now and doing a little bit every week so that it just grows eventually. Because the truth is this, guys, most people underestimate what they can do if they're doing a little bit every week, every month. Right, I say this all the time, and I took this from Alex Hormozi, who probably took this from someone else, but most people overestimate the short term and underestimate the long term. So imagine you start with 1,000, you put 100 every week, and not even every week, because it actually would be less, but 400 every month. You do this for 10 years, and you're doing 20%. Now you got 130K. Here's the truth. Again, hypothetical situation, but the truth is this. Time is going to go by. It's inevitable. It's impossible for time not to go by. Remember that. It's impossible. If you don't do this, the best time is now, every time. So whether you're trading or whether you're investing, whatever it is, you just want to start. If you're learning how to trade and you have very little knowledge, no risk management, nothing like that, then I would say hey, maybe not, maybe don't start trading right away. But that doesn't mean that you can't start to invest. That doesn't mean that you can't make financially sound decisions. If you're starting out how to trade right now, definitely dive into demo, practice the skills, practice the strategies, figure out, yourself as well, but start to put money aside. Start to think about, okay, awesome, maybe I'm not going to trade this right away, or maybe I don't know exactly how to invest right away, but let me start building out this pool of money so that when I'm more educated, when I have more skills, when that's the proper market timing, I'm able to actually just get this to work. And I didn't wait, because a lot of people, what they do is they think that, once the market gets here, I'm just going to dump a whole bunch of money in. But guys, 95 out of 100 people, maybe 90 out of 100 people are bad at budgeting. They're just not good at saving. And so I have a short audiobook that I recommend for all of you. It's called The Automatic Millionaire. The Automatic Millionaire. Check it out. Super easy read or quick listen. I think it's 2 or 3 hours long, maybe 4. I literally finished it within, I think it was 5 days, just while I was walking my dog. And it's just a lot of good process, a lot of good perspective on very simple things. And it helps you just start having money working for you, even if you may not know exactly what or how to do it, but at least you're putting money aside and you're paying yourself first. So wanted to just talk about that first to start, because I do think we highly underestimate the power of investing and the power of compound interest, 100%. And this is starting well. And here, this example is starting with $1,000, couple $100 a week. Start with a little, and then you'll get used to not having that in your checkings. And then you'll realize, I can put a little more into this. And I can put a little more into this. Because the truth is this, right? at some point in time, you're going to want to not work, right? You're going to want to have some sort of freedom. So either, you're doing some sort of 401k, whatever, IRA, whatever, and there's no power in your hands and it's all reliant on others, right? Or the skill set that you're building here, you apply it, or you go and take this into your own hands, your own economy, your own future into your own hands, and you start to dabble in the crypto market and you start to, learn more there. You start to leverage resources, right? You guys have access to tons of awesome education, reputable people. So like plug in with those people and have it work. So there is a massive difference between being a trader, between being an investor, and just between having a strong financial plan. So, and again, any questions y'all have, feel free to share them here. But just because you're trading doesn't mean you're financially intelligent. Just because you're investing also doesn't mean that you're financially responsible. So differentiate those things so that you're able to do this properly. So, all right, we're going to move on from this, but I did want to, based on a couple questions here, I wanted to just give you a little bit of perspective on funding yourself, maybe as an investor or a trader, leveraging obviously other avenues of trading as well. Like there's a lot of really cool options. And when you do those things, you just also build more confidence in yourself and the things that you're developing here. Like I started to use Darwin X 0 because one, I wanted to see, okay, what is my actual like third party audited skills, and also can I position myself so that my skill set can give me access to more capital to trade, right? But the audiobook was called The Automatic Millionaire. How would you pose for smart money in a picture? What? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Why you prefer taking the pair which is farthest from your objective of entry? Don't know if you feel me. Oh, why? Because it's the one that's most likely to stay within structure. That's why. It's the one that's more. Now we'll go over it right now. So, all right. So let's dive into the market as a whole and see where we go here. All right. So macro in terms of kind of like generally where the dollar is going, we've been pretty on point here with the dollar. So pretty happy about that. I don't use DXY for entries, but having a general direction, I do think it's relatively helpful. So, a couple weeks ago, I talked about how market had to clear liquidity here, and this thing's lagging. Give me a second. I'm gonna close this out. And how we had to fill some imbalance, and it may respect structure before it comes down, and that's exactly what we got. Right? We cleared liquidity here. We had equal highs up here, clears that, and then it's working its way down. Now, to wrap up last week, price came down to here, this area that we saw in January. There's still some equal lows, so I think we could keep working our way down. As we go down in time frames, we'll kind of see what's going to happen this week, but I do think eventually we work our way back down to, 101.5, 101.25-ish. But we may go up before that happens. So let's see what we can dive into here and what we got going on. Let me go ahead and close out a couple things. What was the name of the audiobook? I think I answered this, but it's The Automatic Millionaire. What audio you said to watch for stock market trader for beginners? Not really for stock market. It doesn't necessarily need to be stocks or cryptos. It's just kind of a perspective for building like wealth. Not just like, oh, let me make money now, but more for longevity, more for I want to have, $1 million in the bank by the time I'm 50. So the way I look at it is when I think of plans, like you don't just have to have one plan. Like I have multiple plans in terms of wealth creation. I have conservative plan that's like, okay, this is just something that will, get to the amount that I want for sure. I have some plans that are very much based on just my skills as a trader, and I have other higher risk, higher reward plans as well. So this way, I have one that's for sure going to get me to a certain, to certain levels, as long as, and it's pretty conservative. So you can have different outlets of doing that. Like, you don't necessarily have to have the one way in which you become, you reach your goals. So, having income or producing and keeping your money, whether it's through trading, investing in cryptos, working with just having money in a high yield savings account, things like that. Maybe you do have whatever boring ass stocks and bonds or whatever, but I just like the DGen life. So that's the life for me, but it may not be yours. So yeah. But anyways, with the dollar, I do think we're going to work our way down further. And the question is going to be whether it's going to happen this week or next week. And I think we just need a little bit more detail. So when we look at the DXY here, and again, I don't use this for entries, but it gives you just a general direction of where market can go. We've been downtrending, right? Like, we've been in a downtrend. The market, the dollar overall, has been making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And so the most recent thing that we really saw was this push up on the dollar before it worked its way down. So this is kind of a key area. And I'll say this a lot because I do think it's important for us to keep in mind is I don't use DXY for entries because Euro USD has a lot of influence here. Euro USD has a massive amount of influence with the DXY alone. So if I'm looking to take a trade on GU or AU or whatever, like, I can't just look at this and go, oh, well, it's DXY is relevant, so let me just get in. It's not really like that, especially because DXY is a reflection of those things. It's not the leading indicator. This is just the response. This is just what shows you. It's a mirror of the other things combined. So here's one. I think around this area, we could definitely start to see the dollar sell off. But also, and you all saw this happen on Friday, we saw a massive meltdown. So NFP's push to the downside here, this liquidated tons of retail buys. So the market here, no, we're bearish. Now, this drops and this lures in tons and tons of sellers, breaking retail sellers specifically, and then we see it move on up again. So smaller time frame, it looks like the dollar is kind of on a nice little retracement. So I would be really cautious, especially if we get up to here. When we get back to these levels, I'd be curious to see how we respond. So if I do get sells here at some point in time, I do think that we will eventually work our way higher and then work our way lower again as well. How we play off of here is what I'm really curious about. But ultimately, if we zoom out even more, I think we're going to work our way down to like 101.25 in terms of the dollar in general. So here's just dollar, kind of what I'm seeing, where I think we can go. We've been in a downtrend. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a little pullback, but we do have quite a bit of imbalance on the higher time frames here, approaching 101.50 and even lower, especially just rebalancing is I think what we're going to see with the dollar. And so let's see this applied to actual pairs, right? So guys, and let me know in the chat if the DXY goes down, then what happens to pairs like AU, NZD/USD, Euro USD, GU? What do you guys think? This is a question for the beginners here. So, and I'm going to only look at kind of relevant setups, not just break down every single dollar pair. We have a lot of movement with the USD this week, so I think it's valuable to look at different options, but I don't necessarily think we're going to get opportunities with every single pair. DXY goes down, AU, EU, GU, yeah, they all naturally go up. Yeah. Talked about futures contract. Do you have any video? I haven't made any videos on how to trade with futures, so I can make a video. Yeah. I know a lot of you are going to be switching, or maybe not switching, but adding futures to your process, which I think is fair. It's not a crazy jump at all. If DXY goes down, Euro USD will go down too. No. If DXY goes down, Euro USD goes up. Okay. So zooming in is going to be really helpful looking at the market here, and I'll explain why. So, for example, and what you'll notice is that AU, NU, EU, GU, they're going to look really similar, but there's going to be little nuances that will make all of the difference. So here is NFP from Friday, and you guys see this aggressive push to the upside here. Right, big moves up. That entices lots of buyers, especially people chase this right here. And they see this clear these highs. So people think, okay, higher high, bullish structure. If I get a pullback, let me buy this. Following the trend, classic. But the reality was when these highs were made, they were so quick, they were so temporary. You got to think intention, right? Narrative. We're not here to trade patterns. We're here to see why. Because why does money move? Money moves because of liquidity. Right? It's an exchange of retail money to the whales, the big dogs in the market. So this is what's going on. So here we see a very intentional push up, clears out retail sellers, lures in buyers, and then we see the market. AU did not sustain higher highs. It quickly lost momentum and even just kept working its way down. So we're definitely seeing now a bearish trend, the beginning of a bearish trend here on the 15-minute here with AUD, USD, etc. So just something to think about, guys, as you're looking at this is like, okay, what's the intention here? So as we look over here, could we possibly be looking for sells with AU? Yes. But like someone already asked, like, hey, like, why do you choose the, which pair do you choose? Or why do you choose, NZD, USD over AUD, or how does that really work? And so I want to really break that down for you guys here, because it really comes down to probabilities and what's more likely to hold the structure that you want to trade in. So if you're bearish and you want to continue riding those sells, then you want to find clear sell positions. So the goal is, how do I know when it's happening? How do I know which one to choose if they look really similar? And the easiest thing I always say is use your fib tool. Use your fib tool, and this way we're able to do this. So check this out, guys. When you have over here is this. NZD USD really similar. Spikes up. But however, when the market does spike up with NZD USD, it basically gets to equal highs, resistance of the past, and equal highs, equal lows, resistance, support. Those are pretty magnetic levels, which means that money is attracted to those areas and especially likes to clear them out. So I wouldn't really have entries around equal highs, equal lows, etc. But as you guys are looking at this, if we draw a fib tool, you see the massive spike up, which takes out a lot of money, or not even a lot of money, but the right type of money. My bad here. And then if we look at NZD USD and we just draw from high to low, because we're following structure here, we got these pullbacks are pretty low right now, especially NZD USD is way down here. AU is a little bit higher. So as of right now, a little too early to tell, but it looks to me like, one, we're definitely trading below the previous lows here. So this pump up with AU and NU, the intention was definitely not to create higher highs. This was starting to lose momentum and kind of shift back to a downtrend, especially when we close below the previous low here. But neither of these are very clear. Right? Neither of these are giving us like super clear setups. AU is definitely, clears the highs and it's worked its way a lot lower, which I like. NZD USD, immediately I would not trade this because of the equal highs that it has on a higher time frame, and I'll show you guys right now. If you look at this here on the 4-hour NZD USD, it made basically equal highs. And so this is a target. Price can definitely come up and sweep that. So I don't really want to focus on any sells there anyways. So with that being said, well, let's take a look at Euro USD or GBP USD. Do any of those have clear, clean setups to take? And on Friday, I was actually explaining this, and I was like, look, a lot of people might want to buy Euro USD because it made a new high. It came down to this zone. But the issue is that, again, when price made, and I drew this out, when price did this, right? When the market did this, consolidation, you have liquidity, big spike down, right? We saw the big spike to the downside. The issue is that when this happened, we don't see price stay up here. It doesn't stay above the previous highs. It quickly loses momentum, and it comes it just comes screaming back down. So even if you're learning these concepts of how to get in and out of the market, and you're able to identify, okay, here's where majority are getting in, here's where, institutional money is getting in. Well, you kind of have two sides of the coin here, because this clears liquidity and it clears out buyers, fools sellers in. But then when the market spikes up, it's actually the same thing but flip-flopped. This clears out anybody that was in sells, but the market comes straight back down. So what's the intention? And here, it's not very clear. Now, had price stayed up here and we trade up here for longer, then I would say, okay, we could definitely look for buys. But that wasn't the case, and which is why we don't have any buy positions that we took here or anything like that. And then, again, if you want to take a look at GBP USD, similar situation. Clears the highs, quickly loses momentum, sideways momentum. It wasn't really bullish for too long, and the market's just worked its way down. So in reality, none of these really are looking very clean yet. So you have to be able to wait for the market to show you exactly what you need to see. Now, higher time frame, we're bullish across the board with pairs ending in USD. Market's been ripping. These are natural retracements. But since we've been ripping bullish for so long, there might be opportunities to sell. Now, we didn't get it with any of the major pairs against the dollar. But if we take a look at something like gold or silver, which is specifically silver, I'm going to show you guys right now. Silver did give a nice setup on Friday. And it looked like this. Silver, what did silver do? Cleared out these highs, came crashing down, closed below, spiked up, sold off of these highs, came crashing back down. Now this has just been ranging all day, but it started to give signs of those drops. At the moment, again, this is not doing much. I wouldn't be involved in silver. If you notice, and I would recommend you always draw. Just draw on your charts. get clarity. It doesn't matter how many years you're in the game. You want to just see. You want to have clarity on what do you see in the market. Don't overestimate your perspective, your eyesight. Just get clarity. Mark it up. And then you can see like, oh, wow, there's a lot of retail sellers in this right now. And guess what? There's a lot of retail buyers too. So this can go either way. So that's with silver. Gold, sideways movement all day today. And in this case, you know, gold spiked up, came back down to where the price originally spiked down as well. And it did react and go up. I didn't take this because this higher high didn't convince me. And I'm okay with that. Because I've seen this kind of quick move to one direction. And then if it quickly comes right back down, I've seen that break these lows so many times. I literally just showed you this happen 4 different times. So it helps avoid making a lot of mistakes. And now what I'm going to dive into is not the pairs against the dollars, but USD, etc. CAD, CHF, JPY. And here we'll start to get a better look at, can we expect possible ideas? Right? Can we be looking for buys in the market? And I talked about this on Friday morning's session, and USD CAD was on just a mission. It was just falling off a cliff. And on the higher time frame, this is a 4-hour. Finally, it clears these equal lows that it had left behind throughout February. And then we see that it instantly loses momentum. So it gets below these lows, but price is there so briefly. And that to me was screaming, hey, this is not, this spike down, this NFP pushed down to here, and then it quickly comes back up. This is not a lower low. Like, this has been trending down for a while, but when the market loses momentum that quickly and it doesn't keep structure, that's telling me, hey, the move down was to take buyers out, not to lock sellers in, not to keep the market trending down. So this was one of those examples where instead of waiting for a higher high and then, you know, taking the setup there, this was one of those like break and retests that lure sellers in, and then once we see that, then we can take buys. So that was something that we talked about on Friday morning session. If you were live there, you would have seen it. And the market obviously just kept rallying, etc. So now, just to give you guys a bit more clarity and like, okay, what can we expect? You know, can we be taking buy ideas here? Is there something that we can be doing? Well, you see the massive pump up to here, and then it melts all the way down. I think that we can be looking for buy ideas on USD CAD here in this zone. That's a huge zone. So obviously we can narrow this down quite a bit further. And so where in this area could we be looking for buy ideas? And the reason I like buy ideas here is because, one, we have a massive spike down, and this massive sell, it usually gets what we call mitigated, right? We see the closing of the sell, and the money used to push the price down will give us reversals. We haven't quite seen that yet. Price pulled back a little bit, and then we saw that kind of pump a little bit here, about 30 pips or so. But this drop was massive. This thing dropped over 50 pips. So I think we can work our way down into this area again and then see some reversals. We saw some pretty strong levels of support over here around 1.3435, and then we saw some pretty good levels of support around 1.3445. So at this point, I'd say it's more of a personal preference on where the market could reverse from. Obviously, the smaller your stop loss, the better the risk reward is going to be. So with this idea with USD CAD, the market strangely enough, like, well, not strangely enough, but the market has been trending to the downside. And the reason I like buys here, especially, is the higher time frames for me are giving us clues that, hey, Friday, yes, we were falling off the face of the earth. But then as soon as we took out some of this money over here, we're ready to go back up again. And you can look at the daily candle and you can see that on the daily, price spiked down. Whoa, not what I wanted to do. Price spiked down here, and then this thing started to just run. So I'm curious to see where we go. Even today, price still stayed up here. So to me, it looks like, okay, we cleared out the buyers that were left behind, and now we can work our way back to the upside. So there's two ways to approach something like this. Either you can approach this with a preset idea, right? You can take a look at previous levels, like on structure. You say, okay, here's where we've seen support before. I think the market can reverse from here, or maybe over here. Or you can wait for the market to give you a shift in momentum on a smaller time frame as well. One of those things I think makes sense. Usually I don't wait for shifts in direction like that, because that's just left without me way too many times. So I just kind of have a predetermined positioned based on where we've seen previous levels of support in the past. So 1.3435 looks good. And if you want to split your position, maybe you have two entries, then you'll have different lot sizes or different, a set of contracts at different prices. And you can go from there. So if you're like, you know what, I kind of want to make sure I get in this thing and I'm okay with getting in a little bit higher, then, feel free to do that. So with all that being said, where would I take this? If you look left, I think we have a lot of imbalance left behind to go and fill. So I think we can get up to these levels. I'd say I'm going to go with the 1.3550 even. And I think we'll be good to go there. This puts us at over a 7.5 R. Again, my goal is never for you to trade like me. So exit based off of your personality, based off of what your trading system tells you to follow. So, and nor do you need big, 7+ risk rewards. Guys, 2R is great. The further it's got to go in my direction, the less likely technically it is for it to happen. So there's signs that this could happen for sure, which is why I'm going to take it. But again, feel free to exit when, according to what your system plays, what you've back tested, what you're developing and you're learning. I've given myself a much more flexible reward because of just my experience with the markets, and I'm okay with that. But I'd say for a lot of people in the first year, setting a 2 risk reward as an exit and just learning to do that is really useful. Not because it might be the most profitable, but because you just get good at following a system. You get good at following your own instructions. And believe me, humans are terrible at following their own instructions. So yeah. So here's an idea, USD CAD. I think the setup could play out. I'm willing to risk some money for it and either trade this demo, trade this. Why do you look for buys for USD CAD and DXY sell? You can just go back and go see exactly what I just talked about. What I said was price could go up before it goes down again. So if price could go up before it goes down, and or vice versa, it could go down before it goes up. And I said specifically what DXY does is not exactly what these other pairs do. For example, what is DXY? So check this out. The DXY is mainly composed of Euro USD. CAD is only 9% of DXY. So, these concepts, they apply to everything. Everything. Anything that is traded, anything that involves human psychology, basically, I use this with NFTs. So anything in which there's psychological behavior, human behavior, you can use these sort of concepts. All right, cool. So let's see. Oh, I didn't end up sending it in here. So USD CAD. Here's an idea. Right there. Again, guys, remember, don't feel like you need to take any of these yourself. If it doesn't make sense, don't do it. If you're like, you know what, I'm not really feeling that one, guys, don't take it. Don't take it. Don't take it. I'll also add the following, because this is like the opposite of what we just saw, right? This is kind of the opposite of like GBP USD. So I would compare it to even other things as well. So, for example, we'll look at something like USD CHF. If this were to look better, maybe I'd take something like this, but it doesn't. And how do I know that this doesn't look as clean as USD CAD? Well, look, USD CAD spikes down, and then here's where we saw our high. So right now, as of this moment, USD CAD is sitting right above a 38.2. Cool. And now we have USD CHF. USD CHF, massive spike down, starts to recover, pulls back down again, goes up again very briefly, works its way back down. So is it even worth for me to do this? Not really, because if I draw a fib level, look where we're at. This is falling down more than USD CAD has. This is further into the structure. And then USD JPY, I mean, it's not even, it took these lows and then just never came over here. So it's not something I would do. How to become more disciplined. How to become more disciplined. You know what? We did a lot of TA. I'll go back to the technical analysis, but I'll answer this question, because I think this is, doesn't matter how good your edge is, how good your strategy is, if you can't even follow it. So it doesn't, it's like a yin and yang. They can't exist without each other. So how do you become more disciplined? I would say a big part of the lack of discipline has to do with instant gratification. It's probably the biggest thing. And also expectations and comparisons. So I would say evaluate your expectations, and not in terms of what you do, but in terms of what you want. So biggest mistake is people set their goals based on a certain time frame that they have no control over. So if you have no control over time, then you can't, it's like, why you can't really win that game. If you're like, no, I have to make, 10K tomorrow. Well, guess what? The market doesn't care. The setups might not be there. You may have to risk way more. And so I would say, like, detach your expectations, especially with the results that you want. Big thing. And then from there, like, that's the base of it. Is that. And then I would say for discipline, the last thing I'll add, because I don't want to go too much into this topic right now, but put more focus on you. I'm like, what are you doing? Not what are you getting, but what are you doing? What are you doing? And if you do have certain tendencies, certain impulses, you get these feelings of like, I know I need to risk more, or I need to get in again. Okay, why? Why do you feel like you need to do that? Like, you got to get to the source. Why do you feel like you need to be in the market again? Is it because you feel like you need to live up to certain expectations? You need to have a certain amount in your account. It doesn't need to happen by a certain date. So you got to just get to the source. Nico, I'm not answering any broker or prop firm related questions. I have no affiliations with any of them. Do your own research. Check your regulations. You'll make better informed decisions that way. But for prop firms, there's really none available, to be honest, in terms of like just forex trading. And then brokers, again, there's a handful that are less than a handful that are regulated that you can look at. Just legally, like, it's not really responsible for me to give you that. What was your stop loss for USD CAD? Your face cam was blocking it by a bit. Check the link. I don't think the link will show my face. It's right around 1.3420 for USD CAD for that stop loss. Michael. So okay. With that being said, from here we saw gold. Gold played off nicely. Don't have any really re-entries. So here's what I think is going to happen. Tomorrow we'll have some news, right? And we have CPI news. So with CPI news, what I do think can go down is that we can see it kind of shake the market up. So we don't have a lot of entries. USD CAD looks like it could be one of them. But I think tomorrow's news event will clear up some liquidity, will kind of set the foundation for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's kind of how I see it. When early in the week, you're just like, there's like nothing going on. A lot of times the market sets up like that because when are traders most eager to make money? It's the beginning of the week. Market was closed. You know, it's Monday. Oh, let me get in there. You know, let's make some money. So I've noticed that the majority of times there's no setup. It's in the beginning of the week. And it wants you to pull the trigger. Like, just get into something. Come on. So when that happens and we have a lot of news, usually the first round of news is kind of what clears up the market, moves things around, makes things interesting. Now with oil, I do think we have possible sell opportunities here with oil. And I see it right now. And you guys can see it pretty clearly. Market pumps up. Clears the highs. That takes care of retail sellers that were selling off of resistance. See that right there. The market also then worked its way down, makes some newer lows. Price trades down here for a bit, even goes down a little bit further. So I do think we can see further structure. Plus, the market has, you know, come up, swept some highs, worked its way down, come up again, filled some imbalances, worked its way down. So I do think sells look pretty clean here for U.S. oil. And then with that being said, I wouldn't take this very low, but I like some sell ideas here. This could play out tomorrow. This could play out Wednesday. But it looks pretty clean. I think we'll have some good ideas here. And we could see this come back, and I would say like 2.5 R. I don't have a lot of experience swing trading oil, so I'm not really gonna start, especially with the live stream. But yeah, this is a setup that I think it looks pretty solid. US oil looks good. If you have no experience trading US oil and you don't know the lot sizes or the contract sizes, make sure you're using your resources, calculators, so that you can figure these out. One of the ones that I use for, especially for forex, you have just cashbackforex.com. They have a really good calculator. So, not Chase, cashback. There we go. And then this position size calculator. So I'll go ahead here and share it. You guys can use this. Super easy, simple. Yeah, CPI will affect oil because of the dollar news. But remember, guys, there are different types of news events. And so I'm actually glad you brought this up. If you go here and you look at the calendar, just click the calendar button first, and it'll kind of like reset everything. What you're going to see is this. Check this out. On the left side, you're going to see metals calendar, energy calendar, and crypto calendar. So when you click on energy calendar, you'll see here, you have, check this out. You'll have CPI news. I don't know why this goes to Eastern. I'm not over there right now. But you have CPI news. And then Wednesday specifically, an hour after New York Open, you have U.S. crude oil inventories. So we'll have this to look at. Wednesday, you'll have a bonus oil news event. So maybe this triggers Wednesday. I'm not sure. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. We'll see. But yeah, something definitely to keep in mind. If you look at oil and you like that setup, it's right there. And then here we go. So forex. We already talked about that. So oil. Here's a good one. What I always do is I like to set alerts on when the price gets into my zone, just so I can just be more aware, be able to manage it too if I'm just not looking at the market and it gets there. And then from there, I mean, we've had natural gas has kind of just worked its way lower and lower and lower. It's filled a lot of the movement that it made the last couple weeks. We've seen it work its way back down and rebalance everything. So I'm still in my positions. We got in quite a bit lower. So yeah, so I'm still in my spots here. Hold on, this is not the right chart. This is the right chart. So we got in all the way over here. I'm curious to see what happens next. Again, at this point, I have no risk in the game. The swap fees right now actually basically have me at break even though I'm way up here. And so we'll see. I do have a macro perspective with this. So I am looking at the big picture with natural but I do think that we're going to go all the way up here and fill this up again since we saw such an insane pullback. But right now, this is my trade. I'm focused on the big picture, and I happen to get a very, well, maybe good entry. So maybe this comes back down again and right nearby here. If it gets closer to here, then I'll revisit and see if I take another swing at this. But yeah, that's where we are so far with natural gas. And then from there, that's really it. I'm not looking at anything with the peso. And then Bitcoin. If you guys were on the Spanish session yesterday, we pinned the low here, bodied it, like literally said we're going to be trading off of these equal lows. And that's exactly what happened. 5,000 pips later, life is good. So you can go if you understand Spanish or if you just want to look at the chart. You can see yesterday's live stream, and you can see that we saw this. It worked out really well. But if you missed it, don't you worry, because I do have another setup here that looks very clean on Bitcoin. 69,000 is the beginning of where this zone starts. Anywhere in this zone, I think buys look great, whether it's for investments. It's what I would do. And the same thing, what I do is when Bitcoin gets to levels like this, when Bitcoin gets to zones that I like for example here with closer to 68,000, I don't necessarily buy more Bitcoin. I'll buy some other altcoins that I like, that are priced really well. Right now, what we see is altcoins have a much more aggressive drop when Bitcoin drops. So for me, that's a great opportunity to get in the market again. And so I'm looking to see where this goes. We took this from 67 to 50-ish, and I think our next target's going to be probably around 75, a little under. I'll say 74, 500, just for keep it a little safe. But I think we can see something like this. the meme coins. You gotta know how to pick them. You know, gotta know where attention is. That's what we're really trading here. But that's Bitcoin. You know, making all-time highs, and it's been absolutely crushing it. ETH, you guys can see ETH did something really similar as well. ETH cleared some lows here, some lows, and then made new ones. So kind of interesting. Not as aggressive, the drop down, and then the market here. So ETH coming back down to this area, we'll probably see some reversals off of here. The highs are good. Yeah, guys, what do you think? Should I be doing a live stream just for cryptos? Because cryptos are a whole, but it's just so much to unpack. If I should be doing a live stream for cryptos, y'all let me know, and we can just dive into a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, I just don't have time to do it here in this one session. Oh, this oil setup was nice from last week. But yeah, we'll go with that, guys. To give you a macro perspective of what I think is happening with Bitcoin, there's no reason for me to sell my tokens. Like, there's no reason for me to sell my crypto at all. There's just no signs. Like, we haven't really done typical price discovery things where when price usually sees an all-time high, it's just like gone. We haven't really seen that yet. In crypto fashion, Bitcoin is not even 5% above the previous high, which is honestly really low. Your wife is good at crypto too. I saw some videos with her and she's so good. Yeah, she's crushing it. Especially, I think, introducing people into the space. She's about to finish up a Spanish beginners course on her YouTube page. So I think she'll do an English one too. That's just so that people can kind of get acclimated into the space. So yeah, crypto stream. If I do that, I'm going to be really mindful of how I say the things that I say. Because I don't want to show you guys anything, and I don't want to, just pump my own bags specifically, but I do want to give you guys perspective. But it's really almost hard not to pump your own bags, because it's like, well, this is what, you put your money where your mouth is. So it's like, I'll give you guys my ideas and I'll be very transparent about what I'm doing. But US oil link is the same as USD CAD. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me fix that real quick. And then, so I'll wrap up with this, guys. Overall, I think we're not done, not even close with crypto. Altcoins they still have a long way to go to just get to the previous all-time highs. We haven't even got to the halving yet. I mean, I don't disrespect anybody that is thinking about selling their crypto. Like, you're up. It's almost impossible not to be up. So I understand that. I understand the conservatives' approach to that. Absolutely. So it's definitely, I'm not here to bring anyone down if that's what you're doing or that's what you want to do. I get it. I respect it. Most people don't exit the way they should. It's a fact. I have not taken as much profit as I would have every single time, and that's probably always going to be the case. I think it's going to be impossible to do that, to perfectly sell everything at the right moment. But notoriously, people, actually end up losing and paper profits, but then lose everything. Not everything, but it's like you just kind of you just went for a ride, but you didn't collect. So if this is your first cycle, I definitely understand. Chances are we're all going to fuck this up. So it is what it is. And this is it's a space in which there's a lot of uncertainties. Nothing is promised. And so that's my perspective with that. So yeah, I think I'll be doing some live sessions on crypto. I don't think that would start this week, even though it probably should. Because every day just seems like a year in the crypto movement. But I'm going to be in Texas doing a workshop, in Dallas in Phoenix doing a workshop, in Oxnard, then in Seattle. So it'll be a good time. And then later in Chicago, I think April 1st or 2nd or something. So if you are in those cities, hit me up. I'll be there. So I'll be out and about. But I think, if I'm seeing this correctly, next week I might be able to start a session or something. But much love to y'all. Always a good time here with everyone. Toronto. I won't be in Toronto. I won't be in Canada. So unfortunately, maybe next time. Well, guys, much love to y'all. For real, appreciate your time. And remember, everything that I say on here is to give you perspective. You don't have to trade like me, nor is that the only way to do this. But the most important thing is for you to build evidence with how you want to approach the market, for you to build a trader's mentality, a disciplined mentality, an investor's mentality, and then also just make like financially sound decisions for yourself. Those are the biggest things, guys, all right? And lastly, I'll end with this. The journey has ups and it has downs, but it's higher highs and higher lows, all right? It's very simple. Like, there's going to be moments where you feel awesome and not so awesome, but you're literally getting better every time. So if you've done it once, you can do it again and again and again and again and again. So much love, y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next one, and maybe I'll see you in somewhere in America within the next 10 days. All right. Peace out, guys. Till next time.